Peace to the world, universe, and beyond. I'm set free from the compound. Thank y'all for tuning in to the show, The Art of Culture. It's brought to you by the compound and Forbes the Culture to be exact. And, it's been a rough time the last couple years. A lot of celebrations, a lot of downfalls, a lot of things we just went through. And, the last show we had was The Art of Protest. It was talking about what was going through social justice. But now we wanted to come back and just celebrate art and celebrate the culture and celebrate many of cultures through art. And I'm super excited to partner with Forbes the Culture to talk about how the art world has impacted the world, period, especially in Black culture. And I couldn't have a better guest and a better partner to do this. Bring it to your Android, your iPhone 12, I hope. My partner, Rashad Lambert. What up, Rashad?
Yo, man, what's the deal, Free? And I really hope it's not on the Android because we're not gonna look HD. Man,
Yeah,
we
it's
got
not gonna be it's not gonna be clear.
what they say? You gonna need a wide screen for this?
Exactly. But one of the things, man, I think a lot of people know the compound, and us about bringing people together to make a feel in a place or experience. But and I think a lot of people know Forbes, but if you could just give a little background on Forbes the culture and what it is, I think that'd be entertaining for the viewer.
Yeah. So Forbes the Culture was founded in October of 2017, so about 4 years ago almost. And it was founded by the people for the people. It really is an organization that our goal is to create more equitable pathways, more equitable, not equal. Because equality is subjective. This is about like equity, finances, money, making sure that our people are paid properly and paid fairly, and not fair based off of people's opinions, but fair based off of what the numbers tell us. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So, and it's really just about having our own table. People always talk about having a seat at the table and being able to sit at like other tables, but we want to walk into the room and have our own table where Black and brown professionals, students, and entrepreneurs can come together, learn from each other, share resources, put each other in position, help each other out, provide scholarship, grants, job opportunities. We started off with a 25 person dinner. 300 people showed up, and now we have 7,500 members worldwide and growing. So if you want to become a Forbes of Culture member, it's free. It don't cost you anything but the culture. So you can go to forbesofculture.com, or you can find us at Forbes of Culture on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and wherever else you go.
No, thank you, man. This is what we strive at the compound to do, man, is to bring great people, great entities, great companies together to push the culture forward, man. Well, I'm excited, man. Let's get ready.
Hey, I'm ready to jump in.
Let's get ready to start the Art of Culture. Special thanks to Jägermeister for their Save the Night initiative, and they're saving tonight.
We saving tonight.
Saving the night. And big thanks to TD Bank also,
for sure,
helping us push the culture forward and showing the art of the culture. So without further ado, let's get it started.
Let's go.
Art of Culture, the second edition from the compound. We partner with Forbes the Culture. My co-host Rashad is here with me. And our artist we're talking to now is The Natural. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, y'all? How you doing?
Blessed, man. Thank you for being a part of the show.
Oh, man, I couldn't miss it, man, for sure. Definitely blessed to be a part of it.
So one of the things, man, being a fan of your work for such a long time, and I'm really happy that we partner with Forbes the Culture. And of course, the backdrop of money is something that Forbes is based on, and also how much your work is influenced by money. Right. Explain to us. We could talk about like the Biggie piece or a couple of your pieces that you are showing in the show tonight. Can you just talk about how money has just played a significant part of your artwork and why?
Yeah. So, like not having none growing up. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely one of them things. This a driver discovering new things. You know, like with the one of the pieces that I'm showing the Biggie Bill, or I think we're calling it Get Money. Um, you know, I didn't know what a Benjamin was until the Benjamins came out. You
Wow.
know, like I knew what a hundred
Right.
dollar bill was, but like I never seen one. You know what I'm saying? Like, so then when they were saying all about the Benjamins, I was like, who's Benjamin? You know, like I thought his name was Christopher. You know, it's like no, it's the $100 bill, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, cool. And then um, it's learning about money, learning about how to get money, learning how to be more financially literate, or not, financially irresponsible. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just everything in general. When it comes to that, uh, you learn through. I learned through the context of music and hip hop,
Mhm.
and when when tackling the bigger art of culture thing, like it had to be Biggie, Jay Z, and Nas. Those were my three, uh, legends that I learned the world through. You know, and so the first piece being literally a Biggie bill. The second piece being Koi. That was from a line when Pusha T put out what was it,
Mhm.
Drug Dealers Anonymous,
Yep.
and he was
Yeah.
saying like,
Yeah.
yeah, well, that's for the koi fish. Like so, like like
Yeah.
he's talking
Oh,
about hiding money in this koi pond he dug up in the foyer,
yeah.
and like you know what I'm saying, like
Yeah.
um, and he got the fish swimming over the money and everything. Like so, it's learning and having fun with these things. And then recently, when um Jay and Nas put out what's that song with Khaled?
I'm
It's the
sorry,
it's
not. I'm sorry,
Sorry,
not sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like when they put out that song, and Nas said the cryptocurrency Scarface, you know what I'm saying? Like that's like uh they're telling you how they're thinking of money and how they're thinking of wealth and how they're thinking of hustle and getting that stuff. And if you pay attention to the right ones, you understand what value is, you
So,
know.
talking about Scarface, man, I got one more question, and I want Rashad to jump in and just talk about the world of the financial aspect of art. I'm like excited to hear the conversation of that. But just Scarface has been a part of when you think of the movies, that is culture and how it transcended, hip hop, getting money, the street world. What inspired you to do the world is yours with the blimp, but in your style? And I understand it was a part of the song with Nas and Jay, but just growing up on that movie, I know it's one of your favorite, like mine is probably Rashad. How impactful was Scarface to the art world, to your art world?
Oh yeah, man, it's goes back to that J line, like as long as the villain wins, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's there that had like Tony Montana has to be like one of the biggest like fictional characters ever. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Especially to
him and
us, like it's
Rocky.
like
I don't know
you
who's
know,
bigger, Rocky or Tony.
It's like him and
yeah,
Terminator. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. You said Rocky. I'm thinking
Yeah,
Terminator.
that
Like,
might be the top
yeah,
three.
yeah, and it's so influential. It's the rags to riches. It's like when he comes in on the boat. You know what I'm saying? Like my parents came in on the boat. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the idea of like, hey man, like coming from nothing and trying to make things happen, and if things aren't necessarily engineered or built for you or whatever, like making the best out of what you could do. I mean, obviously the movie goes a whole another way, but you know what I'm saying? Like that's
yeah,
is definitely different. But like just that whole 80s vibe, and um the legends and the tales and the entertainment and those things or whatever. So being able to, like, I had that piece ready. I even painted a mural of that piece down in Virginia Beach,
Mm.
or it was in Norfolk, Richmond. It was Richmond. I painted a mural of that. So it was an older piece, but then when Nas kind of said that, it woke it back up, and then I was like, oh, I could see this. I could see this thing moving now, and like doing this thing. So, you know, definitely definitely one of those things. And I had to kind of complete the three, like so.
Totally. Well,
Yeah.
that's all I got. Rashad, take it away, man.
Oh man, listen. So like one of my favorite pieces of you, the cryptocurrency Scarface one now is a new favorite. But one of my original favorite pieces, and it was actually a motion piece. It was when you did the Kanye Bound
Yeah,
moving
the
motion.
horse. Yep.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah.
but going back to the whole cryptocurrency Scarface piece, right?
Yeah.
Cryptocurrency has been around for a long time, but it kind of like exploded a little bit last year. A lot of people made a lot of money on Bitcoin. I'm not one of them, but how has that this new world of NFTs and like different ways of being able to monetize art, like how has that influenced your work or like affected your work?
Oh, so like I've fortunately, this year with the big NFT boom wasn't my first exposure to crypto, like art on the blockchain or any type of cryptocurrency. Like I think around 2018, I was releasing art on crypto art with this platform called Rare Art, and we were
Mhm.
selling pieces in tandem with physical pieces. The crazy part about it is like NFTs back then weren't the thing. Like it was like kind of like how Beta, Max, and VHS is. You know what I'm saying? Like that platform adopted a different type of technology or a different type of token than an NFT. And I think literally the only
Yeah.
difference was one was able to sequentially number things in
Mhm.
in an addition, and then the other one was just blocking out like the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's a run of
Yeah.
however many, then they're all kind of the same. But it's still like something that's uh, on the blockchain, so it benefits that way. So anyway, like um, my first exposure into doing that, like and being an early adapter to an adopter to that tech was incredible. Now, like opening up the world of NFTs and that value is like is really really insane. Like the things that I'm really really taking back on when it comes to crypto art now is the conversation. The opportunities that come from it, and it's like what can happen. The paradigm shift of like crazy artists or whatever that are being able to drop big drops, or like even folks that we don't know, what I'm saying, that are making hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars just dropping those things.
Yeah.
Those are super notable.
Totally.
The fact that like you got these guys that used to just make motion files or whatever, and now they're like art gods. It's not a meritocracy. Like you can make the best art in the world, but if you don't have the marketing behind it, if you don't have the vehicle and the platform aligned to put your thing out, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not gonna do anything. And that's what like a lot
Absolutely.
of people jumping into the pool um are seeing. It's the economics of art that's being realized in the forefront. These are like sidebar conversations we would have at Basel, but now it's forefront. Now it's like, how much is it worth? Can you see it? Can it be authenticated? Like, who's dropping what and all this other stuff. So it's like, um, it's an art nerd's dream, and that's why I think the waters are super super rich. You know what I'm saying with that. Um, and then the utility part of it is amazing. Like the fact that you could airdrop something to somebody who's holding your NFT is crazy.
Natural, man. Thank you. For me and for Rashad, myself, Compound. We can't thank you enough. Forbes the culture, and just explaining Compound is about, man. Bringing great things together, great people like yourself and the art of culture, and you being a pillar in the culture, man. And we'd like to make a toast right now with the official Compound drink. sponsored by Jaeger. Just thank you for what you've been bringing to the community for all these years, man. Cheers.
Oh man, appreciate it. Cheers. Cheers.
But how does the compound drink taste though, y'all?
Oh man, this is trouble in a glass.
Yeah.
This is
Nah,
trouble
I
in a
gotta throw
glass,
some more
man.
ice in mine.
now you got
I
to
thought,
say it's art in a glass. That's how we're gonna do it.
oh, this is art in a
Art in a
glass. I
glass.
like, yeah,
Nah,
yeah. This
shouts
is
out to
amazing.
Jägermeister, man. But Naturel, thank you, man. God bless you and your family. From Forbes of Culture Compound. Shouts out to TD Bank too, man. It's not possible without them. And Jägermeister. We see y'all soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Peace, man. Welcome, Sydney James, to the Art of Culture. We're so happy that you could join us on Zoom or whatever program we are on today. I know this is probably your 30th Zoom of the day, but thank you for joining the Art of Culture.
Thank you for having me. This will be fun, so it won't be that bad.
Totally. So, of course, you're from Detroit. You have artistic earrings on that represents the D. And let's talk about the art scene in Detroit before we get started. Like, just for you growing up, and like what attracted to you to art in Detroit.
So I wasn't necessarily attracted to art in Detroit. I was born an artist. Like I legit have been drawing since I was 3. Like took the picture that I drew of Gargamel into the kitchen while my mom was cooking. Like, look what I did, and she sat me down and made me redo it in front of her because she thought I traced it. And I just had a supportive family. I've been taking extension art classes at CCS, the College for Creative Studies, which I later graduated from 2021. I mean, not 2021. My bad. I just had my 20-year anniversary. Like
Congratulations.
2001.
Okay.
But yeah, so like she believed in me, and she was a social worker. My dad worked for the city, and like we had people in my family that could draw and had abilities, but of course, time. They weren't either allowed or invited. It wasn't a thing. You know what I mean? They didn't get that type of support to become like a professional artist, because women, Black, there you go. You know what I mean? But when it came to me, I just loved art. And of course, we have the DIA. CCS is like a world-class art college, and the average Detroit citizen doesn't even know it exists, and it's right downtown Detroit. And and it's only like 2% Black, even still, 2021.
Wow.
Still 2% Black.
I noticed the work, that we have in the show today. It's a lot of African American or just American women, Black women to be exact. But what strikes me is it's a very powerful feeling in your women. It's a no nonsense woman. They're strong. It's a feeling that what do you feel you put in it because
It's
your
all
woman
me.
is so
Like they're gonna look like whatever I feel like at the time that I'm painting them. They're all real women, by the way. And most of my friends do have very strong personalities, but I believe the intention, whatever emotion that you're feeling, they're more likely than not is mine at the time of, because I think every artist, every piece that they do, whether it's something abstract or if they're even painting a person, it's essentially a self-portrait as well. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you're creating and you mean it, because that means you're giving all of yourself to this piece in this moment.
So, being a Black woman that you are, how has your journey been in like just being accepted as a female artist and a painter, and also as a businesswoman? How's that been for you?
Honestly, challenging up until it wasn't. And I mean maybe a couple years ago. And it still has challenges. But the difference is it used to be not kind of crippling, if you will. Like I would have to overcome those things. And now, because you might know this of the art world already, the art world is racist, but it's more sexist than racist. That's just the reality of things. So coming up as a young artist, I was always, I'm competitive, and this is Detroit. Detroit is not as aggressive as New York, but we still aggressive. You know what I mean?
Y'all are very aggressive.
We're aggressive. So always competitive. I just knew I had to be the best one in the room. And not even just better by a little bit, by a small margin. I had to be great. We don't have the luxury of being mediocre most times, especially in creative spaces. We have to be the best and beyond. Because a lot of times, even white boy mediocrity would trump anything great, depending on the space. So I had to overcome a lot of that. Sexism, getting sexually, harassed at work, all of that, overcoming that, men stealing my work at the job and in school. Like, I dealt with all of those things, all of these humps, always having to be, look a certain way if I show up to a meeting. You know what I'm saying? Like, the average artist can come looking like an artist, but I have to be put together, not like in a suit or nothing, but I have to be cute enough to present myself like I'm available, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
It's totally like a mind fuck, but that's the reality of things. So I went through decades and decades of that to come around to this space. So I don't want to say post Sandra Bland, but kind of post Sandra Bland, but definitely post 2020. So as we know, last year have just shed light on what's been happening since our existence here. It's open season on Black people, but now everybody sees it's open season on Black people. So it made hiring Black artists very, very popular, especially Black women too. But not only hiring them, like paying us what we're worth or closer to than before. So whereas it used to be like kind of crippling, if you will, but I'm up for the challenge because I'm hella aggressive. And I like to prove people very, very wrong. I can use it to my advantage now because I am a Black woman. I can speak with full confidence, and I am an expert on what the hell I'm talking about because I live it. I create it, but I also live in these spaces.
Wow, it's so humbling to hear the journey that you went through, just as a woman, and then a Black woman on top of that, and then an artist on top of that. We're gonna dive into, with Rashad right now, and talk about the world of art and business, and the second love you're doing this for is making some money off of
it. When it comes to growing your art business, because I always think about the creative piece, but then I look at it, each one of these, there's a large business behind the creative process. Do you feel that same support when it comes to the sales or the purchasing of your art as that same of Detroit versus everybody?
Yes and no. It's different. So I make most of my money off of like murals or commercial jobs because I actually didn't get my start as a fine artist. I got my start as a commercial artist. I was an illustrator. I went to school for illustration. And even in high school, my curriculum at CAS was commercial art. So I've always been in the business of art making money. It's always a lesson. You don't get fully paid unless you learn a lesson. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people, they do themselves a disservice when they're just focused solely on the money. Like, if you're not learning how to be better for the next go round, then you did not get fully paid. All this to say was, I didn't know any of these things were businesses until I got in the business of doing them. I didn't know the ghost arting, the ghost creation for behind, TVs and films. I didn't know that was an art job. I mean, I figured it was, but you don't know until you know. So now I know, and now I share. That's a job. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I didn't know that even painting on clothes could be lucrative. That's a job too. And then the licensing. Look, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all of these lessons. Yeah. That can be applied. And it's really the art of business and the business of art.
What would you say throughout your career, for everything that you've done until now, what would you say was the moment when you felt like you made it, when you were able to solely focus on the creation of your art and not on the financing of those creations?
The moment that I was able to tell somebody no. And I don't know
Basically,
when that was, but that's when you know you made it. When you can comfortably say no. Like, no, I don't want to do that, and I'm not going to do that. That's when you know you made it. When no is your favorite word. No all
yeah,
caps. No, you can even say no lowercase. No.
with an exclamation point.
Not even. No, just little small period. No.
You know what? You know what's great about that to end it off is that I think for me, being able to say no is just being comfortable with yourself
Yeah.
because you're not judging on a financial aspect, and
Yep.
for you to even that answer is so incredible because I think a lot of people look at the finance first, and that's why they never say no.
Hmm.
Yep.
But you know, congrats, congratulations for you reaching that level of
Absolutely.
I know.
of
But I also
comfortability
keep
with
my
you.
bills low. You got to I keep my bills
Yeah, you
low.
gotta keep your bills low to say no. But
Yeah.
not thanks, Cindy. Thank you for the time. We're
Thank
gonna
you.
just cheers to you and art and success, and thank you for being a part of art and culture. And
Thank
God
you guys
bless
for
and
having me.
totally. And please continue to give your talents to the world.
I shall. You
Yeah.
guys
Thank you.
enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too. No
How do
more
I get
Zooms.
off of here?
I always heard the line coming to the stage, but in this world, I guess we say coming to the Zoom or coming to the screen. Chuck Styles in the building, man, and it's a special moment for me for with Rashad and yourself, just all of us being from Philly.
Mm,
Never met each other, met during COVID times, and for us
right.
to be able to walk our different paths through culture together, man. This is what art and culture is about. So Chuck Styles, welcome, man.
Yo, Free, I appreciate you. Thank you for having me, man. Like you said, it's really big when us brothers can connect for a greater purpose, coming from the same city, and we never physically met each other, but the energy is there, and I just appreciate being in this moment with you guys and doing some good things.
I'm honored to do this with Rashad, to shed a light on what our people are doing in culture, in art, and how it's connecting to making money and providing for our families. So we're going to have a great interview, man. So Chuck, let's start off by 2020 or 2019, man. You have not let your foot off the gas pedal. One of the things for me, being a basketball head, working with players in the NBPA, when I seen your work with the James Harden Adidas campaign, man, I was like a mother seeing her son in the choir or something. Just talk us through that, man. How did that come about? And that's what the art and culture is about. Like seeing your work connect to Adidas and the NBA and one of the top three guards right now in the league.
It's funny that you bring up 2019, 2020. I think 2019, instead of making a New Year's resolution, I, I said I was going to have one word define my year. And whenever I felt like I was in a rut, I would just remind myself of that word that I would commit to. And that word was momentum. So 2019, I just was like, a racehorse with the blinders on. I didn't look to the right. I didn't look to the left. I just kept putting out great artwork. I wanted to put out meaningful artwork. And I think, honestly, all those things and just being consistent and just challenging myself at every single piece, I think that just what led me to the James Harden Adidas situation. I rarely do I ever put out my CV or do I contact some of these big giant companies. I think me just showing that I can do good work. I'm reliable, and I'm here for the people. I just been blessed with these opportunities. So working with Adidas in the James Harden campaign, I mean, that was like, I mean, you can't ask for a better combo.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
honestly, I felt like a kid, working on, a science project where you watching a volcano explode. You know what I mean? I was just,
Yeah.
so yeah, man, I was blessed to have that opportunity, man.
Let's talk about, man, how how iconic, man, the images and the people you pick, and like we could just look at some of your photos with the legendary black people that you have in the show.
Well, Free, throughout this artistic journey, us as creatives, us as artists, we are constantly, evolving, trying to find out, what our lane is, what our style is, what our voice is. I went through a period where I was trying to do so many different styles, so many different, pieces of content within my art. And then it struck me one year when I was in Art Basel, where I looked at the majority of people that were buying art, the majority of art that was being represented. And I made it that year, that moment when I said, you know what? I found out what my purpose is. My purpose is going to be to highlight more Black faces, African American stories on the walls in a fine art way. Um, but not only was that my mission, but going back to that Art Basel location, everybody down there was fighting for that 1%. The big ticket sales of, oh, I'm gonna go down there and sell this piece for $10,000, $20,000, $50,000. I myself, as an artist, at that time I couldn't even afford the artwork that I was trying to sell. So a light bulb went off and said, man, the majority of people that look like me, that walk like me, that talk like me, that are down here to celebrate the art culture, they can't afford $10,000 worth of $10,000 pieces. It's a two-folded journey. I wanted to create beautiful Black pieces of artwork that made people feel inspired, feel motivated, feel proud of who we are, and also restart my business, my art business plan, which was, let me go to where my people are at. You know what I mean? Let me give them affordable artwork that's $100, $200, $300, $400. You know what I mean? That they can start to build their collection with and be introduced to art. And then, once they are introduced, then we can take it up and we can all grow as a people. So that's pretty much, why I paint, the content, the figures that I do is one part history lesson and another part just celebrating who we are.
To piggyback off of that, you talked about making pieces that were more affordable so that you can help people that don't look like us get into like art collection. And we know that is where a lot of of the money in the art world is generated by collectors. It's not necessarily generated by the artist. So what would you say was your like I made it moment when you finally were able to like fully sustain yourself and support yourself on your art as opposed to doing it and doing other things as well?
2018, when I had that idea of, man, I gotta get my art, into as many houses as possible, at an affordable rate, and I tested this idea. I wanted to go down there selling canvas prints at Art Basel. Now, I had this idea of, okay, there's two pain points. One of them is a lot of people down there are like, wow, that artwork is nice. I can't afford it. Another pain point is, man, that artwork is nice. If I buy it, I ended up using my canvas prints as displays only, and would talk the potential clients into, hey, if you like that, please, this is what we can do. We can go through the order process right now. This piece will be at your house by the time you leave Miami. It'll be at your door. You know what I mean? That's the system that I started to kind of put into place. My print manufacturers, my shipping company, they're on it. So if I was just able to stay in a mindset or stay in a place where all I had to do was focus on the art and get my tribe to come to me, then order fulfillment and producing the affordable art was something that I had figured out, while I was at Art Basel. And since then, my business is grown, 500 fold, during the pandemic. And the studio that we are in right now is a result of just all the hard work and support during the pandemic year. So
what is one strong piece of of business advice that you would share with like other artists that haven't learned those lessons that way?
One piece of advice that I would give to other artists, and many of the other artists that I'm friends with, they're my peers. They've heard me say it over and over again. Is market yourself, promote yourself, uh, promote yourself. McDonald's does not apologize for how many commercials they run on your screen.
Mm-hmm.
They don't apologize for how many billboards they put up in your neighborhood. They don't apologize for how many storefronts they put in a 10 block radius. So one thing that is most important, and I think my brother Naturel touched on this earlier, is you can be the best artist in the world, but if nobody sees you, then I mean it's all for naught. So do not be afraid to promote yourself, whether it's organically or if you got to put some money into the machine and get Facebook ads, because Facebook ads do work. At a certain level, you got to pay to play, and that will help you scale your business. And like I said earlier, then you can just go back to being an artist, creating the work, and just building a tribe.
I'm about to buy some ads now and promote me. But nah,
Right.
Chuck, thank you, man. I think it's entertaining for all of us and learning for us. And like I've been saying, the compound is about bringing people together. So Compound and Forbes, and we got some great partners, which is Jägermeister and TD. And let's do a cheers, man. And
Shout out to TD.
Cheers.
Shout out to TD and Jägermeister for making the compound drink, and all the black people that you painting your works, man. Cheers to them, man. Because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here.
Absolutely. Shout out to Malcolm and Martin. I got Malcolm right there behind me.
And Outkast too, man.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to the legends, Outkast.
Come on, man. This is what we do it for, man.
Definitely. Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you.
We'd like to say thank you to Jägermeister once again. But as y'all rolling through the gallery, make sure y'all go to our VIP lounge. Click on the Jägermeister refrigerator, and you get a discount code for your own Jägermeister. So make sure y'all check that out. And shouts out to Jägermeister for saving the night. Without further ado, everybody, I'm walking to your screen. O'Neal Scott, artist from Philadelphia. Congratulations on all your works, man. Welcome to the Art of Culture show.
Thank you.
Compound, Forbes of Culture. My partner Rashad's here to kick it off. We got another Philly trio in the building, man.
We out here, man.
Yo, Rashad said it earlier, like, the good talent is in Philly, man. I can't lie, man.
Yo, something in the water, Free.
We breed all the talent, man. Something in that Scoopville punch,
Don't say that, man. There's definitely something in the Scoopville. Let's just talk about, this word culture that is like the new hot word right now. Like, when it comes to the art world and the art culture, man, what are you trying to put out there? What do you want your message to be, and what are you going to be known as? Especially going through like this last period of the last 2 years, because your work is evolving through, these times that we're going in.
Yeah, man. I think for me, we have a duty to kind of represent the culture and move the culture forward in a specific way. Just as Black artists, I think we have to make sure we don't abandon that and give back to that specific area. So, I mean, yeah, man, that's probably why I think the work has evolved. The work has grown into, an area where it's about growth, it's about empathy, it's about connection and things like that. So I don't want to abandon that duty,
I've been a fan since day one, man. I think the images and the people that you pick are incredible. And, let's talk one of the pieces that's in the show right now. It had a deep meaning to me, because right now one of the biggest things in hip hop is like, let's give people their flowers. And but then I seen some flowers on the ramen. So yeah. I'm looking at it like, is O'Neal saying let's give the hood their flowers for us being able to eat off ramen? Like, just if you can explain that, but it's beautiful, man.
Yeah,
just
man.
The juxtaposition of the flowers with, I grew up on ramen. I knew the flavored packs, and I think all three of us have. So, Jeff, you could dive into that for me, man.
Yeah, man, definitely. It's basically about growing not just staying where you come from, not just staying in that location, but growing and evolving from that. I mean, um, like you said, we both grew up in the hood. I grew up in Camden, so right over the bridge. But we had to struggle to survive, and then like evolving and using that what we were given, those skills of survival, those skills to hustle, all those skills. I think we combine that and we use it to grow, and I think what that painting is showing is we're growing into these, we're blossoming into these huge, flowers that are just um, coming from nothing. So I think that's kind of what the piece is. It definitely hints back to the culture and what I'm trying to portray.
I kind of want some flowers coming out of a chicken cheesesteak neck. Part two. But
Well, I was gonna ask him when the last time he pulled out the ramen, because
yeah,
that was habit forming, yo.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
man.
you touched on a point that I could. It's a great segue to throwing it to Rashad, man. It's the hustle, man, and there's when we think of the word hustle, you think about making money and making paper, and I'm super excited about this show that we're doing right now to be able to connect with Rashad and just the aspect of what he brings to the table in Forbes and Forbes in the culture of Black people and the aspect of since the boom of Black art on the explosion in the world, like being able to let Rashad, even educate me on how the financial world and art is connected, man. So, Rashad, about to take it away, man.
Yeah, one of the things, of course, I asked you about the ramen as a joke, but seriously, like that growth from humble beginnings, right? As we all kind of started from, meaning that we didn't have the most of the financial resources, but we were able to create things to put us in a better situation.
Yeah.
Like, what was your moment where you felt like you were graduating from the ramen into other things where your art was taking you places outside of the neighborhood?
Mm. Uh, I mean, I think for me it was when so if you think about how art is divided up into different segments, for me I've basically been staying in a lane where it's been figurative realism, pretty much, and we talk a little bit about the history of that, and what that means, and that we don't see that many Black people or people of color in that lane that much. So
Mm.
I think for me, when I did, I had my first museum show. I showed at like the Wausau Museum of Contemporary Art, and it was a juried show, and I wound up winning that show. Now I'm the only black face, or black person at the time uh, showing there. So I think for me, it was one of those things where it was like I'm representing, something that was bigger than me, something that was bigger than myself. And I think that's a part of, coming from those humble beginnings and understanding, trying to carve a lane and finally getting to this place where you're impacting a lot more people than just the people around you.
All three of us have had the experience of being the only one in the room, right? Um,
Hmm.
what has your experience been like with the valuation or devaluation of your art, being a black man in the art space that is not dominated by
Yeah, I think it's hard. I think I started approaching this where there's this stigma within figurative realism where it's like black art doesn't sell, and
Mhm.
it's like because their audience is totally different than ours, right? So I think it's starting to evolve into a space where everyone's jumping on black art and everyone wants a specific artist of color within their gallery.
Mhm.
And you can kind of see that evolve within that space because I've been looking around, and now a lot of people that I've admired over the years, they're starting to get their shot, which I think is huge now. So it's definitely changed. It's definitely evolved. Um, and you do get worried. You do get worried that, oh, they're just buying your artwork to kind of, flip it, resell it, and things like that down the road, which does happen. So you just kind of have to look out for that. I think be aware of that, and be aware of where art is right now, and what space you're kind of sitting in.
With these new like royalty deals through like through digital art, do you think that's a value add, or do you think that is something that could diminish value over time?
I think it's a value add, and the reason why I think it's a value add is because, first of all, uh, it's an easier way to understand provenance, and know where your art is going and where it's been. That's something that's been hard to do and hard to track. But then being able to always get a piece of that down the road, if you choose to, is big, because I know artists that have sold paintings, and one artist is coming to mind. He sold his painting for $10,000. uh, like 10 years later, it was at Sotheby's for over a couple million, and he didn't get any of that. So you're talking about, being able to at least get a portion back from all the work you've put in.
This is one of the things of is what Compound is about, is bringing people together to share the stories and your views. A lot of people who are probably watching now has no idea that their art might sell again through a gallery for that much money, and like to be able to hear
Mhm.
your knowledge in that realm and just your experiences, man. We thank you for it, man.
Oh, oh, absolutely, absolutely. I thank you guys for exactly what you're doing. Definitely shedding light on this, and moving the culture forward. So,
Yeah.
So
Artists, there's nothing without the artist, man. So this is all about yo.
yep, totally. Let's
thank you.
cheers to that, man. Got the Compound drink for bringing great things together. Forbes, Jägermeister, TD Bank.
Absolutely.
Just to you, O'Neil Scott. Cheers, man.
Cheers to you too, man.
Penda, thank you for joining Art of Culture with me and Rashad, brought to you by Compound and Forbes of Culture, and all our great partners, which is Jägermeister and TD Bank. And we're just happy to have you here. Your work speaks for itself, and it's a lot of great fans out there, like from the Dean Collection and just so on and so on. So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about where your inspiration comes from. Even for me, one of my logo is a gas mask, and when I seen the piece that's in the show with the gas mask, I got all excited. Like, did she know? So, like, where's your inspiration comes from? A lot of your art.
Um, all of my inspiration pretty much comes from my life. I grew up between Mali, West Africa, and Oregon in the United States. So just growing up between both of those cultures and meshing both of those cultures together in my artwork is pretty much just a general concept of my work.
What was your like? How did you keep motivated? And what has been your journey through these last 2 years with just staying an artist, staying creative, and, battling just life and trying to be the best artist you could be in the recent times.
Yeah, I mean, I spend so much of my time, I mean, even before the pandemic, spend most of my time inside working and creating and really getting my inspiration, like I said before, from just my life as a black woman and a black woman growing up between both of these countries. And definitely a lot of light was shed on different aspects of personally my life. And I know a lot of other people of color and black women like me, a lot of light was shed on, how we're feeling and what we've been experiencing. And that definitely really helped me push forward in my creations. I've always been pretty vocal through my creations about these issues, though, in general. So, pandemic kind of heightened all of that.
If you could explain how you see the art world now since the world has taken its turn, and how has it benefited you?
I mean, I guess I can speak just personally from my experience. Definitely a lot more reaching out to me, a lot more interest in my work, and a lot more interest in understanding my work. So, I mean, we obviously still have a ways to go because there is,
Oh,
there's such a low percentage of um, Black artists and especially Black female artists, um, in the art world, represented in the art world. And given that equal opportunity in the art world. So we still have a ways to go, but I definitely felt a shift during this time, at least a shift in interest and a shift in, effort to include and to understand and to really, hear my voice as an artist as well. So.
What has your experience been like as your career has grown, as you have grown as an artist? What has your experience been like getting paid what you feel like you're worth and getting paid what your pieces are actually worth versus what people offer?
I mean, I feel like as an artist generally, to me, my work is just priceless. So it's always hard.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sensitive about my work, so definitely, I always feel like, it's worth more than what it goes for. But definitely, as I've experienced being a professional artist in the world and grown as a professional artist, and kind of come into myself and became more comfortable asking and expecting the level of payment that I think I deserve. That's definitely come into play. Being able to just ask for what I deserve, and it's just been a journey, of where I am as an artist, what I feel like I can ask for, and so now I'm definitely more confident in asking for what I
How,
feel like I deserve at the time.
how do you balance the creation of the art versus running the business behind the art?
That's definitely definitely something to juggle because it's a business, and I'm kind of working just around the clock 24/7, handling the business side and the creation side, and I just have to choose when to shut off so I can actually create. And creating is what really gives me life. It's what makes me happy. It's like my battery. So if I'm too deep in the business aspect of handling everything technically that I need to handle, I just let myself shut off that side and create for the day and start over on the business side the next day. So I find a good balance. I really go with my intuition, honestly. I just follow my intuition.
What would you say are some of the types of support that you could have used like earlier on in your career?
Um, I mean, I'm lucky because both of my parents are artists, so I grew up kind of in the art world. So I had that support. As I moved to LA, it took me a while to find a group of friends that were like-minded. Um, and now I have a group of friends that we're all artists. We really, really support each other in all of our endeavors, and that definitely was something that I could have used earlier on. But it I really believe it all comes in the right time, and yeah, that's some really,
Absolutely.
I guess is what I would say.
Thank you for your time and being a part of the show, Art of Culture with Compound, and of course Forbes the Culture. And we thank you. We salute you. We want to actually toast to you in your journey and just continue success.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
our next guest, which is from the Breakouts. Will, welcome to Art of Culture, brought to you by the Compound and Forums of Culture.
Thanks for having us.
Totally, man. We couldn't have did this without you and your team. You know, thank you to all the Breakouts, and let's get right into it. First of all, because I think everybody is hearing NFT just like the word Super Bowl, but nobody knows. I just want to start from the start of it. Can you even tell the viewers what NFT, the letters stand for?
It actually stands for non-fungible token. That tells you a lot, right, Free?
Exactly. You know, I think what for us, you know, being a part of the show, we're super happy. Like we, the artists, some of the artists are doing NFTs, but I just think a lot of consumers are just new getting into the art world and buying art. Period. But now they're getting hit with NFTs, and they're like, I can buy it for this amount, and but I've seen an artist make this much money. So, you know, in a brief description, if you could just explain a little bit about the NFT world to our viewers.
Yeah, so just to make things clear, right? So non-fungible token actually means that the piece of art is unique, right? And what is actually very cool is that as an artist, right, you are not given the copyrights, but you are allowing somebody to own a piece of your art that is unique. So the best way that I can describe it, Free, is something that is fungible. Think about it as a quarter. If I give you a quarter, Free, then and you give me that quarter back, it's still a quarter. But if I give you a Roberto Clemente like rookie card, and then you give me a Deion Sanders primetime jersey, right? Those are two different things that actually have different value, right? So that is what a non-fungible is, that you can actually trade it, but it does not have the same value. It can have a potential different value between the two items.
One of the things I want to ask with artists jumping into the NFT world, do you feel like it's helping a lot of more artists, or now anybody can just become an artist? What do you think? Do you think it's a benefit to the art world, or is it making it just more diluted and populated?
So I think I have a actually very pointed point of view when it comes to this, Free. So I think we have to see it from two different angles, right? As an artist, we are enabling a new generation of artists that perhaps didn't have a way to express themselves. Listen, I grew up in Puerto Rico. We used to graffiti all over the place, and we didn't know what to do with that. Right now, there is probably an avenue that allows some artists to kind of come together and express that. Right? Is it that also comes along with some of the noise and what I call spinning gummy bears that you see in every marketplace that perhaps don't have that much value, right? But that's when the creator meets the collector, right? As a collector, I can then, if I like Penda and I want to buy her art, I can support her directly. I can interact with her directly. And then I can start, as a collector, I can focus my time, my energy, and my finances to be able to support the artists that I feel that relate the most to me. So that's a different paradigm altogether, right, on how people interact. I do think that because it's hot and everybody thinks that, again, because they have a spinning gummy bear, that they're going to make, $69 million like people did. You will see some of that, but I do think that it will stabilize as time goes along. And I do think that NFTs will be the way that we kind of interact with each other and have a way to talk to each other directly, right? And be able to support the artists that we like and we like to follow, right? It's kind of like the Instagram of art, right? Allows them to kind of have the direct connection.
Currently, NFTs, the pieces that become NFTs are minted on the blockchain. They can only be minted on the Ethereum network. Is that correct?
That is not correct, sir. As a matter of fact, we run on a. So let me step back. Blockchain is a technology. Let's call it a ledger, right? Back in the day, my grandpa used to have a colmado in the corner that he used to keep track of what everybody bought, right? Think about it that way, but it's a big computer that actually does it. We, as the Breakouts, one of our core missions is sustainability. So therefore, we run in a platform, in a ledger blockchain technology called Hedera Hashgraph. That it takes less energy to mint an NFT than it actually takes to actually have a Visa transaction. Where some of the other blockchains like Ethereum takes the average energy that one house consumes in 31 days. So that is the big difference in technology. And Man, think about it. PlayStation 1 versus PlayStation 5, right? PlayStation 1 was
Yeah,
kind of cool, graphics were okay, but it was kind of slow, right? PlayStation 5 is awesome, awesome graphics. You can do a bunch of shit with it, right? So that
Mhm.
is same thing here, right? We're newer technology nowadays.
And the currency that you use to purchase an NFT, does it have to be a cryptocurrency?
It does not. As a matter of fact, we do not use in our storefronts. We want to be able to again expand the reach of the art world and being able to empower the artists to talk to everybody, right? And I do think that crypto scares people, right? So what we've done is we abstracted that in our platform and allow people to transact in US dollars like you would go into any website and be able to transact. In the background though, there is cryptocurrency that has to take place. So what we do is we do that translation for our customers when they go into our website. I hope that answers your question.
A lot of people are becoming artists now because it's so widely available. You can just create something on your phone and you can call it NFT, and they see people, like you mentioned, people that are making $69 million or $50 million or $10 million here, and these are artists that have never made $1,000 on like a piece of
Hmm.
artwork. What do you see long term as some of the uses or the like sustainability of a new industry like this? Not financially though, not in the creative way, not as
Hmm.
as artists or any of that, but in the money that these artists are able to make with what is from what I understand is like a royalty structure where
Hmm.
each time this piece of artwork that they mint is resold or purchased by some new collector, they get a royalty from that.
Correct. And honestly, that is one of the beauties of the NFT itself. Let it be in art, let it be in music, let it be, listen, we are dabbling with some ideas of our concert and ticketing and how that goes back into the artist, right? But that is one of the cool things about the blockchain, right? It is a ledger. You keep track of everything that is happening. So anytime, so Rashad, if I sell you my NFT, right, there's going to be a transaction there. And then Rashad, if you sell it to free, then there is what we call a stake fee. So therefore, you get in perpetuity, as long as that NFT is alive, you will actually get a royalty back into your account, and everybody within that chain will get a percentage out of that. So therefore, everybody's being compensated and quite frankly, motivated to talk about it, to kind of put their ideas out there, to say, hey, I'll trade you this for that, because there is that perpetuity and ownership of the piece as long as the piece is alive. Where in today's day, you either have a receipt that you're going to lose, right? Or you have to go to some place to be able to get it authenticated. I don't know if you guys see Pawn Start all the time, but that guy has a friend that calls somebody to be able to authenticate it, right? That process now is being put within the blockchain technology, and you will always be able to keep track of that. So therefore, we can collect those royalties in perpetuity.
But for everybody that I'm going to send this video to that has a million questions about NFTs, and I keep telling them, I don't know what to tell you. So now I'll direct you to the breakouts. And Will, thank you, man. I really
Thank you,
Thank you,
appreciate
Will.
it.
guys. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
It's great to be on having our first artist, and it's a Philadelphia trio, man. Well, our first artist. Welcome to your Zoom, your iPhone, your Android. King Saladin, what up, good brother?
What's up, man? Great
Yeah,
seeing y'all, man. Thank you for having me on here. It's an honor. You already know Compound is the family, so whatever we doing, man, it's gonna be 100. I'm going 100 with it.
Just let's talk about your motivation, because you've crossed a couple of different barriers, since I've known you in culture, from the car culture, but your art has been lended to all these different cultures, from car culture to music to just the art media, different art mediums, from toys to paintings to prints to clothing. How
Yeah.
what keeps you going and keeping you so creative to be able to do art in the times we're in?
What motivates me right now in these like trying times of the world, man, is like pretty much just what always motivated me. Like art was one of the things that I did to kind of like get away from the neighborhood, get away from like everything that I was going through in the hood. So yeah, I just did the same thing, but it's just on a different level now, because now I got projects and it's a whole bunch of stuff that I got to get done at certain time periods. But just staying motivated is really my family, man. I love to do art, and I just know how privileged and how how blessed I am to have these opportunities. So I can't really like get caught up in a lot of that stuff. You know what I mean?
One of the things about your art, Saladin, is that it has a subject, and we all grew up loving characters like Mickey Mouse, even to some of the greats today, like Ron English and Futura and Cause, and seeing that you have Bear, and the Bear has been iconic with just art from Yogi Bear and just so many bears, but you have a story with your bear. Can you break down what made you want to create a character to connect with your artwork and the story behind your bear?
Early on, being self-taught, I grew up with graffiti and everything like that I seen in the neighborhood and in my environment. So with picking abstract art to go with in my early career, that was one of the things that I thought would get taken seriously. You know what I mean? So it's so crazy that JP was one of the people that seen one of these characters in one of my black books and was like, yo, I think you should really go with this because it's like, Brandon. At that time, I was a consumer and I never thought of me actually owning a brand or branding my artwork. You know what I mean? And he was just like, yo, that bear, I think it's something with that. So, speaking in the future now, he passed away years after this idea comes up. He passes away from cancer in 2013. And I just start getting all kinds of ideas and just visions of what we used to talk about. And I'm in Cali at the time, so I already quit my job and started really like, trying to live this dream and like learning about how to be an artist and just in the world. You know what I'm saying? So it was my best friend JP that was like directing me toward more of a branding than more of a traditional artist because I didn't come from any type of traditional background. So he was more with the culture and clothing and everything we was living. So that's one of the biggest inspirations why JP the Money Bear is my logo. And the inspiration came from JP being my best friend and just, pushing me to be the best dude I could be, whatever I was doing.
There's not a lot of African American men that make toys. And you took JP off the page or off the canvas and made him to a toy. Can you just talk about that experience of being able to turn your art into a toy, and how has that journey been of making JP and just your art into a toy?
I just noticed like, all the artists that I was inspired by, whatever they were doing or whatever character they painted, they took it to the next level. They took it 3D, and and beyond. So that was one of my dreams that I always would want to make JP the Money Bear a toy, but I totally didn't think I would have the relationships to get it done, or the means of it. You know what I mean? But it was all in the midst of just my journey. So shout out to Lev Toy Tokyo. He was one of the people that I spoke to about this idea, and he really believed in it. And he really thought JP the Money Bear was a strong enough character, and he felt as though I was going hard with my thing. So he was like, "Yo, I can introduce you to a couple people," and that started at I think Comic Con might have been like 2017, and we worked with a company called Pop Life. So they flew us out. They flew me and my team out to China, and for one, that was a culture shock. Just being in another country, young black, just like it was a crazy culture shock. You know what I'm saying? So the journey has been crazy, man. It's got me from West Philly, Southwest Philadelphia to China to Germany to all these different places, and it's been JP the Money Bear. You know what I'm saying? So I think the toy was just a part of the evolution, and now we just released the NFT and all different types of stuff like that. So it's a part of what I'm trying to create in my character world.
That actually was a great segue to my partner Rashad, and JP the Money Bear is all about the dollars. So Rashad, let's go.
Absolutely. You mentioned being from West Philly and from Southwest, and I'm from West Philly in the building, of course. And knowing the type of environment that we come from, what is or has been that like adjustment from the world of Philadelphia? People call it crabs in a barrel, that have not a lot of support, and like adjusting to all of the dollars and eyes of the art world.
Man, it's kind of crazy, man, because I'm so used to hearing no, in my early life that I don't really care. That's why I think Philly really helped me break
Mm-hmm.
my shell because if you do anything outside of the norm in Philly, it's almost like everybody's definitely not going to be on your side, and you're not going to have a
You're
bunch
a
of people that's
weirdo.
trying to help
Weirdo
you.
bull.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, they're not really trying to help your
Drawing.
mission. You know what I'm saying? So it's unreal though, man. My biggest thing is I took a lot from Philly, good and bad, and I left Philly. So once I left Philly, my skin was so tough that I could walk into anywhere and show people my art. I could talk to anybody and show them my art. And now when I left Philly, I'm running into people who understand art, people that's really appreciating what I'm doing. So it made it easier. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes you just got to leave your environment and and take a lot of the energy and just everything, good, bad, people telling you no, people telling you corny, like whatever it is. You just gotta take all that energy and just use it as positive, and sometimes go outside of your element. And that's I think what worked for me.
So as a creative, what was that process like? Like starting a business while in the process of creating the item that is the focal point of the business.
Well, honestly, man, I just jumped in it head first. Like I quit my job in 2011, and that was one of the main things that my best friend JP was telling me to do, just based on like time and really working on my craft. You know what I mean? Like he was really like, you can't really half-ass a dream, bro.
Of all the things that you've accomplished in your career, and I've been on following your work since like very early on, and I've seen your trajectory as it's been growing. What would you say is the moment when you felt like you made it, when you were able to solely focus on your work, and the creative aspects of it, and not worry about how you were going to fund it?
I think that might have started around like 2015.
Mhm.
After like my first art basel, I got an opportunity to do something for like for Jordan, actual the company Jordan. It was a really cool community project, and it was the first time that I actually got paid like a nice amount of money for something, like something that was like crazy to the point where I like was like didn't know what to do with it at that time. So I think that time I was like, yo, it's getting serious now. I remember like just passing out money to my family because I never had no like that much money at one time before. So especially from art. So that was just amazing to see that. And I felt like after that happened, it was like my battery was turned. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like working harder. I was taking everything way more serious. And it wasn't about the money. It was just about like that big of a company appreciating what I did. It made me feel like a different type way. So it was like it was on go from there. So shout out to Jordan, Team Jordan for that opportunity. It actually was called A's for J's. So it was a
Oh
really
yeah,
dope
okay,
situation.
okay.
Yeah.
That was a Philly
Oh,
campaign.
yeah, Sneaker Villa,
Yep.
Sneaker Villa, and Jordan Ace for J. Super
Yep.
dope campaign, man.
Oh,
Great stuff for kids.
Well, King, man, it's been great, man. Thank you for the time and
Thank
walking
you.
us through your journey, talking about JP the Money Bear, and just always being a part. And you are a part of a couple different cultures from the art aspect, which is great to see, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Team Compound, man. Thanks for having me. Forbes. This is amazing, man. Thanks, y'all.
Peace. We would like to thank Jägermeister for partnering with the Compound and the Art of Culture event and the Save the Night initiative. And what the Save the Night initiative is, it was formed because of the social distancing that was happening all across the U.S. that shut down a lot of venues and bars and locations where artists usually performing at and showing their talents and making their living. And this was created as we are here tonight, a platform and giving artists a place where they can continue to show their art and do their art and also express themselves in different mediums, from music to art to all different types of works. And we just say thank you to Jägermeister, and it's been great, this partnership, and hopefully we can continue to save the night and also make more events where artists can show their talents. Well, glad the show is going amazing. It's the Art of Culture. Our next guest, y'all familiar with him? It's Compound Family. It's BK the artist. Welcome, BK. Thank you for joining the show. Thank you for being a part of it. What made you come up with the concept of the Earth Series?
Well, first and foremost, thank you, brother. It's good to be a part. Happy to be back around the fam, and excited for the opportunity and to be part of the show. It kind of started around when the Me Too movement was bubbling up. And, my mom has always been a big influence in my life. And we've always heard, Mother Earth and the idea of, you know, attaching a femininity to that. And so, you know, I sat down and wanted to try to make a painting from a male's perspective, as not only like an ode to the women in my life, but also talk about how, you know, just generally in society, I think we as men could do a better job of putting them on a pedestal. You know, how many times do we know that a woman runs a household, or she's the linchpin of a relationship? We have that phrase, behind every powerful man is a good woman. And I kind of wanted to flip that on its head. You know, the more I peel back the layers of history, you find more female leaders, whether it be in ancient Egypt or other cultures. And I think sometimes, you know, when we just think about it simply, you know, they're the bringers of all life. And so it was important to me to try to use my skill set to paint a series that not only honored that, but also was a catalyst for some much needed conversations.
So one of the things I just want to touch on is that a lot of your paintings, I always said, is a painting inside of a painting. And inside of the paintings is always memories, history, timelines, you know, from like the Nipsey Hustle tribute to just all your works. With the Earth series, it's flowers inside. Sometimes if it's not a history lesson, it's an object or a subject. And you know, I want to be the first to talk about it, and hopefully we're the first to be showing the painting that's behind you right now, which is the Muhammad Ali and the Smoking Joe Frazier. Can you just describe to your viewers like the painting, and also, you know, when that style was created of you put, it's like you're putting an extra level of art inside of art, and where did that come from for you?
Well, you know, my favorite artist and probably my biggest influence has always been Salvador Dali. And I specifically remember being a young kid and being exposed to his art for the first time, and my mind just being blown, because it's exactly as you described. I felt like he painted on so many different layers and so many different levels. And it opened up my eyes to what art could be and how it could be used as a tool. Sometimes I describe it as acrylic alchemy, and the idea that as a viewer comes into my painting, they may have a base level understanding, like a base metal of whatever subject matter I'm dealing with. And then hopefully through the composition and the story that I weave together with those elements, I can enlighten them. And you know, the idea of alchemy is taking a base metal and turn it into gold. So I try to use that skill set to not only help change some of the issues in society, but also leave the viewer with a lesson or something about, you know, something they may not have been aware of. And so it was really derived from, you know, looking at Dali's work and how many different layers he could paint into, you know, hidden images inside of hidden images.
No, amazing answer, man. Well, I consider you a successful artist, and I want to pass it over to my partner Rashad. And you know, being successful, you have just came off a great success of the NFT world, and you sell great amount of prints and paintings. So, Rashad, take it away.
What role do you feel as an artist? But what role do you feel money has played as it has infiltrated the art world in a different way in the last 25 years?
You know, I think anybody that picks up a brush or a pencil, it's originally for the love. You know, it's something inside of you want to express, you want to get out. And then you grow up a little bit and you realize that it's a business side of it as well. And unfortunately, a lot of artists only focus on the artistic aspect and not on the business side. For me, you know, I went to college for graphic design, so I had this business base that I worked off of, which allowed me to create my logo early, create a website, kind of package myself very early on. Um, but you know, so many artists that, you know, I talk about whether you're painting for commercial or you're painting for love. You know, what's the end result of what you're trying to produce? And just like you said, Dali, one of the things that struck me about him is even the times that he lived, for him to be so in tune with the counterculture or some other things that were brand new or maybe mainstream wasn't, you know, touching on yet. One of the paintings that jumps out to me when he painted the DNA helix, and I had to deal with his little brother that had passed away. And I mean, it was like, yo, this dude is on a completely different playing field, you know? So for me, you know, the aspect of money as an artist is one of the things that's kind of like hanging over your head. You know, it's like, do I paint for commercial success, something that I know the audience is going to like and may look pretty on the walls? I write as well. And one of my favorite lines that I had ever wrote is, you know, I'm trying to hang values in your house. I'm not trying to match the colors of your couch. And it's like this idea of, is it an interior design? Is it to match your room? Or is it like we touched on before, like really adding substance and value to whatever the work may be. Just an advice to other artists out there. I think that there's a happy medium to find between, not focusing so much on the commercial, but finding the love for it. And then there's a happy place in between that the love exudes through the work, and then that'll bring commercial success as well. The financial side, I've been blessed. I consider myself very lucky to be able to do this as a grown man for a job. I don't take it lightly, and that's why I try to make sure that everything that I put down on canvas is for the greater good.
The business world seems to have a fascination now with artists and with art culture, whereas and they're going up direct to the artist, whereas curators are no longer able to gatekeep in the way that they've done before. Do you feel like this is helping the arts community, or is it hurting the arts community?
I think it's absolutely helping it. Just as you mentioned, the idea of a gallery back in the day was the gatekeeper. If they would tell you that these are the 10 artists you should see and that occupy the walls, that's who they decided for you to see. My rise has been directly influenced by the people. My following and my platform rose because that middleman was taken out. And I think the biggest proof of concept, or proof is in the pudding, is the people elevate you because your art speaks to them. So I'm excited about the gatekeepers being removed. I think it has been what led businesses to be very, art oriented these days. And I think it's finally time to let us be to the forefront and shine.
For me, being a gallery owner, it's a heavy balance to try to not be looked at as a gatekeeper. And that famous thing that I'm loving finally happening is the art world is finally turning into an equal opportunity employer.
Absolutely. But what's even dope about you as a gallery free is I feel exactly what I said is what informs your decisions about who comes in your walls, which is dope. I think you let the culture speak to your ears on the street, and that's what makes so many people be attracted to what you're doing, because you're already doing exactly what I described. You're not, looking at the art world and deciding who they say is dope or who they want on your walls. You, as a person who has a good taste level and sees what's good out there and keeps your ear to the street, you're hip to it. So I think you're also changing the game in that respect. And from my side, I love it, man. So we appreciate that.
No, thank you. On that note, man,
You got to toast to that.
You got to toast to that. Toast to BK, the artist, and just all the great work that you're putting out on the world. Congratulations to your success, and man, love you, brother, as an artist and a human, man.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Cheers. That's a damn good drink, Free.
Oh, thank you, man. I got the money for that painting right there, bro.
Well, I hate to burst your bubble, man, but it's been a blessing. I actually sold it already, bro. I told you it's been wild lately, man. before it's even off the easel, they're selling, bro. So it's a blessing, man.
Yo, I don't know what this could buy. I can't even get a break. I might get some smoke for this.
Get a piece of blank canvas.
No, that was great, man. Well,
amazing.
We'd like to thank you, and actually like to thank all the artists for tonight to participating in the Art and Culture show. The culture wouldn't be what it is without you and your art. To every one of you artists, we'd like to thank my partner, man. We killed it. I couldn't have did the aspects of culture, art, and finance, man. So Rashad, thank you for what you brought to the table. I'd like to thank all our sponsors, TD Bank, Jägermeister with the Save the Night initiative. It's been a remarkable evening. And Rashad, you got any last words, man?
Man, I just want to thank the sponsors again. Shout out to a TD Bank and I'm the Ready Commitment and Jaeger, man. Y'all saved the night for sure. Shout out to the Compound, man. I just want to like I know it's you can't thank yourself, but I definitely want to thank you for putting together this initiative, man. These artists are super creative and incredible things that they are contributing to the culture, and it's imperative that we use our platforms like you did tonight to be able to highlight some of these artists, and hopefully they could shine some light on somebody else and keep paying it forward.
Totally, man. No, thank you to everybody a part of this. And for all of y'all are watching, please continue to go look at the art. Tonight was just a glimpse of the art while we were interviewing the artists, but make sure you go to Compound gallery, Compound Dot Gallery. Check out the art as long as you want. The art will be available all through June. Make sure you go to Forbes the Culture, sign up, be a part of the culture. It's growing. Shout out to you, Rashad, for creating that movement, man. You're doing an incredible job. We thank you to TD Bank. Everybody go open a savings account, checking account. It's very much needed. It's seriously needed. And also, we like to thank the Black Artist Fund, what proceeds of the art is going to tonight. So anybody that has bought a painting or bought a print or an NFT, a portion of that will be going to the Black Artist Fund, and we're super excited to be helping their movement. And then last but not least, who helped us save the night, who helped push the night forward through the culture is Jägermeister. And shouts out to them for being a part of the Compound family and everything they do for us. Cheers.